set 'em on fire. Welcome to my empire.
Where are you tuning in from?
From Leeds. Moved back to my hometown very recently, so that's where I'm at.
That's in the UK, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, happy Friday. It's nighttime where you are, but do you have any fun plans for today?
For today, well, as of recording this, we are about an hour away from me premiering the new release, which is I guess once this goes out, Colour Bass Volume 3, which is a big compilation on my label Rushdown.
Yeah.
20 tracks.
Wow.
So it's been a lot of work sort of curating and putting everything together for that. So yeah, that's gonna be it's gonna be exciting. That's happening in like less than an hour.
Is it the drop or the reveal? Like the announcement?
So the one that's going up today is the announcement of what it is, and all of the logos of the artists are going to be shown one after another. And then there's a tease for like the full trailer that's going to go up tomorrow. But I'm especially excited about we have some new artists from outside of the label that are big melodic guys in general. So we have AU5, Siren Soul, who's come back from sort of like he went on a hiatus since like 2015, but he was like a Monster Cat guy back in the day. We've also got Nasco and
oh wow, really?
Love Nasco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a big one. Definitely like the biggest release we've had yet, for sure.
Yeah, those comps take a lot of work too. I mean, you guys have probably been planning it for what? I'm gonna guess like 5 or 6 months, maybe.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think we properly started collecting tracks maybe like October. And then obviously there's a load of admin behind the scenes and just making sure everything's done on time, and getting all the graphics ready for all the posts and all that stuff. So
So you had tweeted a couple of days ago that you had a big announcement. Is this directly related to that?
Yeah, this is the one. Yeah. I called it my biggest project yet, really, because it's kind of a lot bigger than just Chime as a project. It's Rushdown has been growing into something much more like meaningful in the scene, which has been amazing over the past sort of year or two. And the fact that we can put together a compilation this big with even bigger artists than I am supporting on the compilation is really, really amazing. So the biggest project yet until my album drops potentially this year.
Yeah, I mean, Rushdown is one of those labels that I think a lot of people look forward to the releases because it's something fresh, it's something different than a lot of what we're seeing in like the dubstep or the bass music space. But I'm curious to hear from you. Like, you started that 5 years ago, 6 years ago?
2016, I think. So what is that?
I'm so
that's
tired. 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
That long.
How have you seen it grow? Like, this label has really blown up, I would have to say.
I'm glad it appears that way. I started the label kind of quite naively, not knowing what I was getting myself into. My management suggested that I start a label just so we could put out self-releases. And the overambitious me from the past was like, why don't we just put out music from like everybody I know? And I didn't realize like how much work that would become.
It's a full-time job running those labels.
And then sort of during 2017, during 2017, we sort of rebranded with all my own artwork and stuff. And then what became my focus was really pushing melodic bass music at a time when I just saw it sort of fizzling out really in the scene. And I sort of mean that in between, that's kind of 7 Lions, Millennium, more pop, future bass focused stuff. And, everything heavy was going heavier and heavier at that time as well. So that became the focus. And then we sort of picked up artists like Ace Aura and Skybreak and Sharks, and they've just gone on to like really kickstart their careers over the past year or so. And with them gaining popularity, it's just meant that more people have been paying attention to the label, and we're able to introduce even more artists. So it's a lot of fun to do. I really like working on a project that doesn't necessarily advance my career specifically, but is kind of good for everyone. So it's really great to have a position to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think it's really fulfilling and rewarding when you can actually elevate others and help others grow their careers, and not just you, right? So I feel like that's kind of the similar mission that we have at DUBSTEP FBI. But I mean, just to like go off track a little bit, I know that Ace Aura and like Popacon were artists that we discovered because of Rushdown Records. Like they've been blowing up.
Yeah, especially Ace Aura.
Yeah, he's been playing probably more shows than I've done by now. He's just
Dude,
just
he's
picking 'em up.
everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. It's really great to see, and obviously like I've played a very small part in that, in like sort of giving him those initial opportunities. But I still feel an incredible amount of pride for everyone like I've helped, and seeing them go on to do like these amazing shows and amazing label releases. And it's great. It's so much more satisfying than working on my own career almost.
Yeah. And I mean, something that we've seen too is the more people that we help and like spread our good intentions to, that always comes back around. That energy, it always finds a way to come back to us, whether it be like next week or in a couple years or like out of nowhere. I just feel like the more people you help elevate, like the more in turn that will elevate you and bring you that fulfillment.
Yeah, I really like the perception of my musical project being a vessel for others as well. That it's a lot more fun to have an entire group of artists all kind of collaborating and sharing ideas, and that's really where like the whole sort of color bass subgenre categorization, whatever, came from, is just these like-minded producers together in the same place, all discovering kind of all these new sound design techniques and how to advance this kind of midway genre. And then we've had like these breakout points where like Ace Aura came in and showed us a whole new way of doing things, and then Papa Khan came through, and that there was a whole other approach there, and it just keeps going on and on and on. So it's amazing to be in a position where like most of my favorite dubstep is from people that I like, I knew from 100 followers that have come through the label. Like that's most of what I play in live sets now. And it's not really like I there's no need for me to like idolize any other particular DJs or producers, because I idolize these artists that are smaller than me, and I'm like, you shouldn't be smaller than me. So I just love it. It's great.
Do you run this on your own, the record label, or do you have a team with you?
So my management team help out with sort of contracting and some scheduling bits and pieces, but for the most part, like the curation, it's me and some of the like core Rushdown artists that do like the A&R stuff, and we all kind of discuss each of the submissions and make sure everybody's kind of on the same page for like what we're taking. And over the past year, we've like really increased our sort of production quality that we're looking for, and we're trying to push, because there's kind of as like color bass is gaining some popularity, there's a lot of people like trying out for the first time, and it's got its own sort of certain generic sound, and we want to kind of prove that, you know, we're always constantly pushing boundaries and looking for new sounds within that core idea. So we're just trying to keep everything as fresh as possible, really, with what we put out. Yeah, so there's kind of like a group, an A&R group, and my management, but for the most part, it's me figuring things out, scheduling posts, making the graphics and the artwork. And
oh wow, you do the artwork.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's amazing. What platform do you use?
Photoshop.
Love it. Yeah, I'm a big InDesign Illustrator person, so I respect the Photoshop too.
Yeah, again, it's like not anything I've had much formal training in. I just sort of picked it up like at school, and you know, my dad ran a graphic design business, so it's just been in the family.
Yeah.
And but like in terms of making the artwork, I just kind of bumbled my way through like figuring out how to make it. It's kind of the same thing with music, really. So
yeah.
Self-taught.
Literally
most people are. Yeah,
everything with like DUBSTEP FBI too, just even like these podcasts. I'm like, I don't know how to edit a podcast, but I guess we'll just go on YouTube University and learn along the way.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of resources available now for any creative medium is just amazing. Like the amount of stuff like new producers can access now, they can learn to produce in no time in comparison to like when I started. And we were like scrambling for bits of samples off weird websites and stuff. Now we've got like Splice and other, you know, all these tools. It's really good to see.
I also think like, even though COVID was obviously really bad, the one thing that is good that came out of it was that people learned how to do stuff remotely. So like, you know, Zoom calls, everyone knows Zoom etiquette now. You can do like production lessons over Zoom, things like that. I think that's something that we're never going to go back on, even working remotely, you know.
It's kind of advanced things a lot. It's just so much faster. Like I mean, in the UK especially, there are people that really, you know, before the pandemic were just so against that sort of thing. There's like very much a culture of, no, we have to be in the same room. I guess people like us who are already working online, you know, it's kind of like, oh, cool, everyone's catching up now to this sort of remote working. I mean, all my collaborations are done basically through Discord or Facebook Messenger and sending files across. And it's been like that for years and years now. So, I guess that is a good side effect to all this.
Yeah. When was the last time you were in the States? Was it Lost Lands?
Around that time, yeah. So we did like a pretty brief tour. It was mostly to connect up the festival dates that we had booked. So Lost Lands was one of those. Dance Festopia, and then there was Starbase Festival before that got cancelled, and then just like some bits and pieces, like shows in between. Really sort of just testing the water for how touring was going to work with COVID. But you know, I was on a bunch of flights, didn't catch it the whole time, so that went well. I was trying to be very careful because I didn't want to cancel anything, so I was masking up for all the shows and all that stuff. But yeah, that was about the that was the last time I was there, so I'm due to go again. I'm ready.
I feel like the US is pretty much open right now, although, you know, Canada's still very much in some sort of lockdown. Like I know they just lifted their curfew. I don't know. How is it in the UK? Like, are you all still on a pretty tight lockdowns and stuff like that?
No, not so much. They were kind of threatening some sort of lockdown-y measures, but it didn't end up happening. I actually need to research like what the situation is for traveling right now for some things coming up. So I'll find out soon. But yeah, I had to jump through a lot of hoops in order to get over to the US for that trip. I actually needed to renew my visa, which in itself is a big thing. You have to supply a ton of evidence of your success and that you're going to make money and for the US citizens and stuff. But also I needed something called a national interest exception, which allowed me to pass through the border, even though even because of all the COVID stuff, which was like an added extra stress on top of this visa stuff. But it all eventually went to plan. And now I have that in my passport, and I think it's good for like a year. So yeah, there shouldn't be any issues, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm curious, out in the UK, you know, everyone knows you as like the color bass music. Is it popular where you live, or
no,
people open
no,
to that?
not in the slightest.
That's what I thought, but I was just curious.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like from like the American perspective, it's like, well, dubstep started in the UK, so it must still be popular, and it's just not the case. It's a very interesting history, because dubstep around sort of 2011-12 got really, really popular in the UK, to the point where it was on the radio. It was on Radio 1, BBC Radio 1, on the top of the charts and everything. There was DJ Fresh, Chase and Status, Nero, all that stuff. And what happened was, because it was like quite an underground movement initially, and then it had this big blow up moment, and then we had Skrillex gain a lot of popularity. There's this whole thing in the UK where it's a culture of, oh, Americans take all our stuff and ruin it.
Oh, ruin it.
What? Which I disagree with, by the way. That's when I really started getting into dubstep, when it took that more like I guess harsh edge.
The bro step.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah. But yeah, so from that point, it really was like everyone just jumped ship on the movement entirely, and now it's a really sorry state of affairs. COVID's basically killed it off entirely, I think. We basically get maybe 1, maybe 2 dubstep shows in London a year at this point.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when you go to them, it's like all the same guys, like the same
crowd,
same 200 people or something. Yeah. So it's rough.
One of our best friends, Joe, our business partner, he actually is from the UK. He's from Manchester, and he's a big D&B guy. Like, he's always showing us the awesome D&B tunes. He also loves hard dance. So it's cool to have him, because he brought that love for those types of subgenres to us. And now, like, they're really sticking with us, and we're starting to love them more and more because of his influence.
Yeah, it's always been an interesting sort of genre switch once you like cross the Atlantic, because everyone's always pushing for drum bass to like become a big thing that explodes in the US, but it's never really happened for like years and years and years. And it's sort of the opposite in the UK with dubstep, is where it just won't come back, you know. I always thought it'd be a good idea to get like an upcoming drum and bass producer from the US and an upcoming dubstep producer from the UK, and do like an exchange program.
Yeah, I love that idea. We should do like a producer exchange, a bunch of different ones around the world.
That could be sick.
Yeah, because it really is like, those are the places you need to be for those genres, or at least for drum bass somewhere in Europe.
Have you played many shows in Europe?
Yeah, a few here and there. I've played a couple in the UK. There was like, probably the biggest UK show I played was kind of Circus Records show for Rusko's EP release there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it was like me, Jarvis, Dr. P, Funtcase, Rusko, which was, an amazing lineup to be on. As for Europe, France has a big scene for dubstep, and where else have I been? I've been to Switzerland. I've been to Germany. I'm sure there's more places. Oh yeah, Budapest in Hungary I've played as well.
Ooh.
I was about to say, I know that like Carry You, another color bass artist, is from
Yeah.
Hungary. So
Mhm.
that's like one of the countries that came to mind because it is pretty popular out there from what I've heard.
Yeah, it's weird because like nowhere around there really has any popularity with dubstep. I don't think even outside of Budapest there is really a scene, but within Budapest there definitely is a scene. I remember
Mhm.
when I played there last, it was with Bad Clark.
Oh,
was like a-
awesome.
A really
Oh.
interesting like combination. And it was on my birthday as well.
Mhm.
And it was this kind of like outdoor stage, like right next to a motorway. So
Mhm.
there's like cars going past, and then there's this big old stage with a big. It was kind of crazy. And
Damn.
yeah, I was wondering what Bad Clout was going to be like because
Mhm.
in pictures he looks really serious, like he could chin you at any point.
Yeah.
But he was really nice, and then he got the crowd to sing "Happy Birthday" to me at the end of my set.
Oh, that's so cool. Unforgettable
amazing.
moment.
Yeah, I kind of love that with dubstep DJs that look really hard, but they're really nice. Like every time.
The first artist that comes to mind is Sudden Death, like Danny. He's like
Yeah.
he looks kind of terrifying in his photos, but then when you meet him, he's like the goofiest guy ever.
I've heard he's pretty goofy, yeah.
Yeah. And same with like, I don't know, I feel like with Chrissy and I, when you like see us in our work mode, we'll be blasting like the harshest hard style that you can hear, the harshest dubstep, and then you see us and we're just like these
Yeah.
little girls. they're like
Yeah.
they're like, what in tarnation are these
We're
girls
little
playing?
firecrackers.
Yeah, I mean I've had a lot of times where like somebody's booked me and they're not really sure what I'm like live. And they're like, oh, is this kind of quiet, like British nerdy looking kid? And then like I get really into it like when I'm playing the shows and they're like, what the hell did this come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, don't
Yeah.
judge a book by its cover and all that.
Actually, when is your live stream playing for Lost Lands? Because I know they're playing this weekend. Do you know?
Oh, that's a Couchlands stream,
Yeah,
isn't it? I don't
Couchlands.
think mine was recorded because it was on the sound camps, like late night sound camps,
That
which
makes sense.
last year were on. They did it really well, I think, because they had all like a bunch of main stages effectively, and then they had the sound camps happening on those stages, but just after midnight.
Yeah.
But yeah, my set was just after midnight, so yeah, it wasn't recorded.
I have to say, your Lost Land set from 2019 is one of my favorite sets of all time. That was literally the set. I think I even stumbled across it on SoundCloud or something, and that was the set that literally got me into Ace Aura. So
oh, cool. Yeah, I played
legendary.
a bunch of Ace Aura in that one, I think.
You opened with
yeah.
Interdimensional, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I was
Opened
like, what
with
is this song?
Interdimensional.
I loved it.
Played Nucleus and God, I'm blanking on the names right now. But yeah, a bunch
So
of
long
Ace
ago.
Aura tunes.
That's awesome. Well, we have a couple submitted questions from our Instagram
Sure, yeah.
followers. So yeah, I'll jump right in. Focused, he's asking where your favorite place to play in America is.
Oh, right. Shout out Focus, by the way. He's a friend of
Yes.
mine. Damn. I've had some really good shows in Seattle and Portland. Denver as well. It's
Shout
really
out.
good.
Yeah, Mile High City.
Base capital.
Yeah. Florida's, I've had some really good shows there as well. Yeah, I'd say those are like the places that stand out for me the most. And again, it's kind of a mix of different shows. It's like big, small, medium. I actually tend to prefer the shows where it's a small venue that's packed out.
Yes.
Rather than like a really large venue where you're like miles away from the audience. Yeah, so those are my favorites.
If you don't mind me asking, where did you play in Denver? Do you remember what venue?
Ooh, let's see. I've played a couple places. I'm always terrible at remembering the venues.
There's so many of them.
I did Bass Ops. Bass Ops was the last one I played. Was it not the Ogden Theatre, Gothic Theatre? I think
that
that
sounds
one.
about right. Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, that's a thing.
Oh, I
Black
think
Box
Mission
was another one.
Ballroom. Did you play at Mission Ballroom?
Mission Ballroom. Oh, that one was really good, actually.
Yeah.
That was the circus show.
That one's really good
Yeah.
for EDM.
Yeah, I think our show was like the second one from opening when we played.
Yeah. I think I went to that show actually. Flux was there, right?
Yeah, it basically the whole circus crew.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I remember being in there and being like, this venue is so clean because it just been
the
built.
green rooms are
like, practically.
cool. It's a
Mhm.
really awesome place. They have like pinball machines in the green rooms.
Do they?
Yeah.
Well, I was only there at the beginning, so
Yeah, and the AC
don't know what it's like now.
temperature, like I always,
Mhm.
I'm like
Yes.
very picky. I always like when they have a good temperature in the green rooms. Those ACs, man.
Yeah, exactly. I can't stand heat in the slightest. So after my set, it's like straight to the AC or outside or wherever's coolest.
Mhm,
So yeah, that's always appreciated in venues for sure.
mhm. Sweet. Well, we have another submitted question. It's from Underground Society EDM. Shout out. They had us on.
Mhm.
He had us on his podcast as well.
Yeah.
So he wants to know, what made you continue pursuing your sound before color bass was a hit genre?
Basically a dissatisfaction with sort of either side of things. Like whenever I hear like a fully just like straight up heavy tune, I'm like, this is sick, but it needs some like harmonic content, some tonality. And then when I hear like all the way melodic stuff, I'm like, I need some like aggression. I need some like more like sound design focused stuff. So really that like middle ground is my favorite, that the interplay between the two. So that was always what I was going to make, I think. And I just stuck with it until it kind of became its own third pillar, really.
Sweet. So we have the lightning round now, and we have probably like 8 questions for you.
Okay.
We'll just kind of go through them pretty quickly, and some of them are really funny, so we like to have fun with this one.
Okay.
What's your pre-show routine?
Forget that I run out of time and having a conversation with someone usually, and then going, oh, I'm on in 5. All right.
Probably time to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have one, basically.
All right. This one's a FBI tradition. If you've ever seen any of our podcasts, you've probably heard this.
Okay.
So it's fuck, marry, kill.
Oh God. Okay.
Sharks, Asora, Skybreak.
Okay. I'll kill sharks because I mean, Jesus, who needs a shark around, right? I would fuck Skybreak and marry Asora for no
Perfect.
particular reason.
Well, Asora he got engaged to his lady, so you better get on with it.
I mean, the whole thing is out of the question anyway.
You both can marry each other.
I can still kill sharks, and that's the main thing.
That's all that matters. At least you justified all of your answers.
I guess so, yeah.
Love it. Okay, fish and chips or bangers and mash?
Neither.
Oh.
The reason being, I can't stand fish or seafood for the most part, and I can't stand mashed potatoes.
Oh, wow.
So, in fact, what I order from the fish and chip shop is a combination of those two things, which is sausage and chips. So,
bangers and chips.
Neither and both. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do a combination.
Yeah.
Okay. What are your nicknames?
I don't have any. Chime is the nickname, if anything. Or Chome. If you've seen, there's somebody did like a really derpy, like looking dude, like illustration of me and just put Chome. So I don't know. That's probably the closest thing.
That's funny. What is your favorite video game? I know you're into video games.
Yeah. So it's between Zelda Breath of the Wild, Hollow Knight, one of those really.
Mhm.
In terms of like more childhood games, my first game ever was Pokemon Yellow, and another favorite is Wario Land 4 for the
Mhm.
GBA.
Did you ever play Spyro?
I didn't, but my wife loves Spyro. That was kind of like one of her main childhood games, and yeah, so that always makes me think of her.
Mhm.
Really,
That was one of my faves growing up.
I
I
wasn't
was
much
never
of
a
a gamer.
PlayStation person. Oh right, yeah,
Well, I was actually more of a PlayStation person.
yeah,
But
yeah.
even then, didn't really play like a lot of games. It was mostly just Super Mario,
Mhm.
the
I
classics.
love Super Mario Sunshine. That was actually
Mhm.
my
Oh
favorite
yeah.
one.
It's weird now actually because Spyro is owned by Microsoft,
Oh yeah,
so it's
didn't that go
probably going to
down?
be an Xbox exclusive now. It's very strange
Yeah.
Oh,
because it's
cool.
such a PlayStation like IP in my mind.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how this whole thing is going to play out.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen with PlayStation, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean they've had like Call of Duty taken off them. That's like a big deal.
That's a
That
big
is
blow.
that is a big deal.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right. Next question. Is it color bass or melodic rhythm?
They're different things. So the idea behind like the term color bass was that it's kind of more all encompassing, and it gets away from the word dubstep, which is already
Mhm.
so kind of like taken away from what its original meaning was. Um, yeah, so color bass just became like the easiest way to refer to it. Bass music that's colorful, like
Mhm.
that's it. Melodic rhythm is kind of just more of a melodic take on rhythm, and I also just like the fact that a few years ago people were kind of laughing at how would that even be possible, and now
Mhm.
it's happening. And yeah, so that's a cool sort of development.
That's good. We got you on the record defining those for everyone listening.
Yeah.
All right,
Mhm.
last question for you. How many IDs are you sitting on?
Well, not too many. I mean, like I don't know, counting the album, quite a few. But a lot of them are more sort of like, I don't know, stuff I wouldn't necessarily play out, or I might, I don't know. But yeah, like probably 12, something like that,
Okay. Yeah.
with the album tracks. In
Mhm.
terms of like non-album tracks, it's about 3. It's not many at all.
Mhm. When can we expect the album, if you don't mind me asking?
It is currently planned for summer this year, but it depends on how things go
Mhm, of
with
course.
with me completing it, really. Because it's sort of like a background project while I'm also like working on Rushdown, working on new like
Mhm.
single releases to put out and stuff. So
Mhm.
and we're thinking about splitting it into 2 parts. So it's kind of like a chapter 1, chapter 2 sort of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I want to make sure it's right before it gets released.
Absolutely. Well, we'll keep an eye out on that
Yes.
on your Twitter feed.
Mhm.
Sure.
But do you have any final words that you'd like to say to the audiences? That was pretty much the end of the lightning round, the questioning. But
Cool.
do you have any final words?
Final words, as always. Check out all the artists on Rushdown. That is that would be my favorite thing if you discovered someone new from that. Yeah, I'm always just going to be plugging those guys, really.
Love it.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we'll keep following you guys. I mean, like we discovered Asora and Papa
Mhm.
Khan, they're legends. So yeah, everyone tune into Rushdown.
Mhm.
And thanks again for joining the show. I know it's pretty
Yeah.
No
late in
problem.
your area, but super
Oh no,
appreciate you for
it's
joining.
fine. Yeah,
And yeah,
cool. Thanks for having me. It's been great.